Formula One is back. And it's not just back, it is better than ever. For the first time in a long time, three teams have a legitimate chance at a Formula One World Drivers or Constructors Championship. 4, if you count Haas because you suffer from Haas delusion syndrome. Max Verstappen seeks to become just the 5th driver to ever three-peat as World Drivers Champion, while Charles Leclerc chases his first title, and Lewis Hamilton is after a record 8th. You can't count out Checo, Sainz, or Russell either. Ferrari, under new management, want to return a championship to Maranello just as bad as Mercedes want to return to their winning ways, and Red Bull want to protect what is theirs. In the midfield, well, it is just as exciting. The all-French Alpine lineup versus Elston Martplan versus the youthful McLaren duo is sure to entertain all season long, while Alfa Romeo and Haas look to improve on their positive 2022 seasons. And not to mention, for the first time since 2015, an American driver is back on the Formula One grid to hopefully return the United States to its former F1 glory. And guess what, folks? I, J-Bone, will be with you all season long to digest, react to, predict, break down, and enjoy all that Formula One in 2023 has to offer, starting, of course, with the season opener in Bahrain. J-Bone! The Bahrain Grand Prix race weekend begins on Friday, March 3rd with free practices 1 and 2. Free practice 3 and qualifying are on Saturday, March 4th, and the Grand Prix itself is on Sunday, March 5th at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 3 p.m. UTC. The Grand Prix is taking place in the Kingdom of Bahrain, which is an island nation in the Persian Gulf nestled between Saudi Arabia and the Qatar Peninsula, and this will be the 19th running of this event. The international circuit at which the Bahrain Grand Prix takes place is the aptly named Bahrain International Circuit, with the winner of the Bahrain Grand Prix being the driver who comes out on top after 57 laps around the circuit's 15 turns and 3 DRS zones. A fun fact about the Bahrain International Circuit is that aside from the turn 4 hairpin, the rest of the circuit is entirely below sea level. The main areas of the circuit that you'll want to pay attention to are as follows. There are the 3 DRS zones, which are on the main straight between turns 15 and 1, the straight between turns 3 and 4, and the straight between turns 10 and 11. These will be the 3 areas of the circuit most prone to drivers overtaking other drivers, and thus the most exciting areas of the racetrack to watch. Specifically, the flat-out speed sections of these DRS zones and the turns at the end of them, which will see drivers attempting overtakes and then attempting to defend their overtakes. One thing to watch out for at the Bahrain Grand Prix is drivers attempting late overtakes. Because the Bahrain International Circuit is surrounded on all sides by sand, drivers need to be very careful when going off the racing line to attempt overtakes, because if they don't have time to get back on the racing line before their overtake is complete, they will be forced to either back out or risk locking up their tires due to the buildup of sand off the racing line, making that part of the track dirty and ruining their car's grip. Another area to watch is the non-DRS straight between turns 13 and 14. This is actually the second longest straight at the circuit, and so could definitely play host to some overtaking despite not having a DRS activation zone within it. As far as the circuit layout goes, it remains unchanged from the 2022 season, and speaking of which, before we watch the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix, let's all take a moment to remember last season's insane 2022 Bahrain Grand Prix. We all knew that this race would be interesting as it marked the first race of a new Formula One era that had brought with it an immense amount of regulation changes, but I do not think anyone could have predicted just how interesting this race would end up being. This race essentially took the 2021 season and turned it on its head. Ferrari had a 1-2 finish that kicked off a season of Ferrari delusion syndrome for all the world's tifosos. There were those insane DRS chicken battles between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen that were unlike anything we had ever seen before. By the way, get your J-Bone designed DRS chicken merch now in the Formula Bone shop. There was the Mercedes being shockingly far off the pace of the Red Bulls and Ferraris, but even more shockingly, still backdooring a podium after both Red Bulls miraculously suffered mechanical DNFs in the Grand Prix closing stages. There was, of course, Kevin Magnussen becoming the founder of Haas delusion syndrome by somehow, some way, finishing P5 just days after rejoining the Formula One grid. And to cap it all off, there was rookie Zhou Guanyu scoring points on his debut. Let's all hope that this year's edition of the Bahrain Grand Prix is even more exciting than last year's, with even more occurrences that challenge the Formula One status quo and leave us all in awe. Next up, here are your storylines to follow for the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. First, which Formula One driver is about to shock the world at the Bahrain Grand Prix? The first race of every F1 season is the ideal setting for a driver to come out of the gates hot and pull off a massively surprising performance. Last season, it was, of course, Haas's Kevin Magnussen and his miraculous season-opening P5 performance that stole the show, though Valtteri Bottas's P6 was definitely honorable mention. And in 2021, it was none other than Nikita Mazepin who had us all talking at the beginning of the season after he showed us the true meaning of spinning out by spinning out 3 corners into his first ever F1 race on his way to earning the nickname Nikita Mazespin. There will be a driver who surprises all of us at the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix, and I cannot wait to see who it is. Who do you think it will be? Let me know in the comments. Your second storyline, is 2023 finally Ferrari's year? Ferrari haven't won a World Drivers' or Constructors' Championship since 2007, meaning they are currently in a 15-season title drought. This is their second longest F1 title drought ever, with the longest being the 20 seasons between 1979 and when Michael Schumacher saved them in 2000. However, if you believe all these reports that keep coming out about Ferrari's new and improved power unit and their impressive sim times and how they believe they've fixed last year's reliability issues, then you've got to be feeling pretty good about the Scuderia's chances this season, especially with their experienced new team principal Frederic Vasseur at the helm. Personally, Ferrari need to prove to me that they can handle a title fight before I start believing in them, but honestly, I would not at all be surprised if they won both the World Drivers and Constructors Championships in 2023. Let me tell you about my sponsor, Hemp Hop, available to those of you age 21 and up. Hemp Hop's story began in 2014 when founder and CEO Jordan was determined to help out his ailing father, who suffered from a condition that caused him to experience symptoms such as swelling, seizures, and severe nausea. While doing some research, Jordan stumbled upon CBD, a derivative of the hemp plant, which ended up giving his father a ton of relief. Jordan then decided to start Hemp Hop, a hemp-focused company aimed at attempting to provide that same sort of relief to others who have been struggling with the symptoms from which his father had been struggling, but also symptoms such as anxiety, depression, and more that hemp products have also been shown to help with. Hemp Hop is on a mission to change the world with the hemp plant by providing the highest quality hemp products at affordable prices. Hemp Hop carries gummies, flour, topicals, tinctures, capsules, bath bombs, and even dog treats. Just make sure that you read up on each product before you buy, as many of their hemp products contain psychoactive ingredients that would inhibit you from driving a car or operating machinery. Hemp Hop ships worldwide and has customers in all 50 US states as well as in Europe. If you want to try out their products, you can get 10% off at hemphop.co right now with code FBONE at checkout, or you can get 20% off your order of $200 plus with code FBONE20 at checkout on hemphop.co. Your third storyline is, are Mercedes about to dominate the 2023 F1 season? While Ferrari are focusing on putting out positive PR about how hopeful they are for the 2023 season, Mercedes are doing the exact opposite. I feel like every single Mercedes PR piece about this upcoming season is Toto Wolff saying, "I don't know, guys, it might be another long season for us. No, Michael, that's not right. Insert really long breakfast order here. And personally, I think that that's all just what Mercedes wants us to think. Just like I said before last season, I think Mercedes are doing some sandbagging pre-season. And yes, I know and admit that I was completely wrong about them sandbagging ahead of last season because their car actually did stink. But I think they're using last season's lack of sandbagging to disguise this season's actual sandbagging. We'll all find out soon enough whether or not Mercedes is back. But one thing is for sure, they are back in black. That was a good joke. Your fourth storyline. It's time for all of us to see what Formula One's newest batch of rookies is made of. 3 of the Formula One grid's 20 drivers are rookies in 2023, with those drivers being AlphaTauri's Nyck De Vries, McLaren's Oscar Piastri, and Williams and America's Logan Sargeant. Interestingly, only 2 of these 3 rookies will be making their Formula One debuts at the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix. Nyck De Vries actually made his F1 debut at the Italian Grand Prix last season while filling in for Alex Albon for one race, though he is still considered a rookie despite this guest appearance. De Vries scored points on his debut, and McLaren rookie Oscar Piastri as well as Williams rookie Logan Sargeant will be praying that they can do the same. Good luck, lads, but especially you, Logan Sargeant. From one American to another, Godspeed. Which of the 3 F1 rookies do you think will have the best Bahrain Grand Prix? Let me know in the comments. Next up, here are my eagerly anticipated official pre-season predictions for how the 2023 World Drivers and Constructors Championships will end up. First, here is how I think the 2023 Formula One World Drivers Championship will end up from bottom to top. P20, Logan Sargeant. I'm sorry, my American friend. P19, Alex Albon. P18, Yuki Tsunoda. P17, Zhou Guanyu. P16, Nico Hülkenberg. Hilariously, Nico Hülkenberg is technically my biggest 2023 mover, considering he finished 21st last season, and I have him finishing P16 this season. So, congratulations, I guess, Nico. P15, Lance Stroll. P14, Kevin Magnussen. P13, Oscar Piastri. P12, Nyck De Vries. Nyck De Vries is actually my pick for 2023's top rookie. P11, Valtteri Bottas. P10, Fernando Alonso. P9, Pierre Gasly. P8, Esteban Ocon. I think the battle for France is going to be a tight and hard-fought one. P7, Lando Norris. P6, Lewis Hamilton. P5, George Russell. Team LH is not going to like that one. P4, Carlos Sainz. P3, Checo Perez. P2, Charles Leclerc. And P1, Max Verstappen. Team LH definitely is not going to like that one. And second, here's how I think the 2023 Formula One World Constructors Championship will end up from bottom to top. P10, Williams. P9, Haas. You can tell that my Haas delusion syndrome has not kicked in yet, but don't worry, it's coming. P8, AlphaTauri. P7, Alfa Romeo. I think Alfa Romeo wins the battle of the Alphas yet again this season. P6, Aston Martin. Now, they scare me the most because if all this chatter is accurate, I could see them finishing as high as P4, but you know what? I'm going to put my faith in Lance Strolling, and put them P6. P5, McLaren. P4, Alpine. P3, Mercedes, but in classic Mercedes fashion, I would not be surprised if they finished P1 by the most dominant point differential in F1 history because they're Mercedes. P2, Ferrari, because I just can't picture them winning it all after what happened last season. And P1, Red Bull, because as the saying goes, you gotta ride the bull until it bucks you. Finding great talent does not have to be a second job. You can reclaim your time and find top talent fast with Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates with the right skills when you can do it all with Indeed. Indeed's US data shows over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job. Something I love about Indeed and the reason I use it to hire is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy. With Instant Match, as soon as you sponsor a post, you get a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description, and you can invite them to apply right away. Indeed knows that finding people with the right skills makes all the difference when you're a hiring team of one. That's why with Indeed, you only pay for quality applications that match your must-have job requirements. Visit Indeed.com/FBone to start hiring now. Just go to Indeed.com/FBONE. Indeed.com/FBone. Terms and conditions apply. Cost per application pricing not available for everyone. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Now, folks, the moment that you've all been waiting for. Here are my 3 bona fide race predictions for the season opening 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. God, it feels good to be back here making my predictions. Let's start off scorching hot here. I predict that a Haas driver will win the... I'm just kidding, okay? That's too hot. Let's bring it down a little bit. My first race prediction is that Max Verstappen will win the 2023 Bahrain Grand Prix. You just know that despite Max being the back-to-back World Drivers' Champion, he is going to have a chip on his shoulder after his DNF in Bahrain at last season's first Grand Prix. I expect Max to channel that rage into a P1 finish that will kick off another World Championship winning season. Cue all the Max haters commenting below in 3, 2, 1. My second race prediction is that the podium will consist of 1 Red Bull, 1 Ferrari, and 1 Mercedes. What better way to kick off a season that has the potential to host a 3-way title fight than for Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes to all finish on the podium? Some of you are probably thinking, but J-Bone, I thought Haas was going to finish 1-2 at the Bahrain Grand Prix. And to you, I say, you have early onset Haas delusion syndrome and should seek help. My final race prediction is that Valtteri Bottas will finish in the points. Bottas was undoubtedly the MVP of the F1 offseason, what with his new mustache, mullet, and testing crash helmet that have on them his mustache and mullet. Plus, Valtteri is a hot season starter as we saw last season, so I like him to finish in the points. Subscribe to Formula Bone now so that I can see you back here after the Bahrain Grand Prix for my Bahrain Grand Prix recap, where we'll digest all the insanity that occurs at this race weekend together. And if you enjoyed this content and want more right now and also all F1 season long, just $5 a month on patreon.com/formulabone gets you 2 additional Patreon exclusive videos per month, access to my weekly written F1 column where I put my most wild and unfiltered takes, and more. And most importantly, your support on Patreon directly helps make it so I can keep making Formula One content full time. So go check out patreon.com/formulabone now for even more F1 content. Special shout out to my top Patreon supporters, Kolky and @RatedBookie. Until next time, folks, J-Bone!